Welcome to the Deadlifts and Pizza podcast, where we discuss no BS fitness and nutrition.
We're your hosts. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jamie.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so I have another mini update.
Okay. Go ahead.
I got Botox.
When?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
I'm still on a high about this experience.
Yeah?
I also got under eye filler. I did
I've heard bad things about filler, dude.
I know. I was so scared. It
stays there. It doesn't go away.
All right, let me tell you my story.
Okay.
You ready? So I had pretty much decided that I was going to do Botox. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Minimally invasive. It's so inexpensive here. I'm in South Korea, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do Botox. And when I went for the consultation at this clinic, which is a very good clinic, all the Americans here go to this guy because he speaks perfect English. And he recommended filler under the eye because I have these under eye circles and indentations. And I didn't know anything at that time when he said that. So I went home and researched and ultimately decided no, because I read they're mostly positive, but enough negative that it scares you. It migrating, it pulling in certain areas. Even when they try to remove it, it never looked the same. And now her eyes are ruined and all these awful things. And even my mom was I have really sensitive tear trough areas and I react to things and I would never do it. And so I was not going to do it. Not going to do it. Maybe one day I'll get surgery to pull up this. I don't know, but I'm not doing it. But then when I went, I made an appointment on a Monday and they were like, can you come tomorrow? And I was like, yes, or Tuesday, come tomorrow. So I went and I was like, I'm here for Botox, whatever. It's my first time. I'm very scared. And they were like, okay, the doctor also recommended the under eye filler. Are you doing that? And I was like, no. And then they were like, oh, and they kind of looked at me almost confused, why wouldn't you? And I was like, well, so I said, I've heard these things. And they just looked at me with a furrowed brow, no. And I was like, you've never seen that? And they were like, no. And so I was like, do you have under eye filler? And the woman was like, yeah, I love it. I get it here. And so I turned to the other, I was like, do you have it? Do you have it? So they all have it. I was like, okay. I'm not going to be the one to say whether you need it or not, but so I was like, give me 5 minutes. So I did my research. I consulted ChatGPT. They told me the brand. It's Juvederm. I guess it's hyaluronic acid.
You and ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I was like, chat. I was like, I'm nervous. I'm sitting here in the clinic. I'm about to get Botox. They told me I should get filler. I'm nervous. I didn't even tell them the things. I was just like, what do you think? And it was you're right to be nervous. Good job. Taking your health seriously. All the positive reinforcement it does. And it basically was there's no issue. I think you'll be really happy with the results. Any side effects are extremely rare. Go for it. And you're in South Korea. They have the best medical, great prices. So I was like, well, here's why I'm scared. Here's the things I've read. And it was yeah, but even ChatGPT was not really with this specific brand. It's Juvederm. It's hyaluronic acid. It's dissolvable. The instances of that happening are extremely rare. Don't do it if you don't want to, but I think it's fine. So I was like, okay, well, ChatGPT thinks it's fine. I'm removing all critical thinking and I'm going to go do it. So just on a whim, I was like, I'm going to do it. And I was I'm already nervous. You should see me getting a flu shot. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. I'm wringing my hands and I start getting sweaty and just the needles freak me out. And so they did the filler first. And what they have to do is they have to poke a hole in the top of your cheek with a really sharp needle. And then they take that needle out and then they take another needle that has the actual stuff and they stick it into that hole that they made and they inject the stuff under your eye. And he has to push that needle all the way where it needs to go. So if they implanted that thing in the top of my cheek, it had to go all the way over to the inner corner of my eye under the skin. And if you ever had an entire roasted chicken and you wanted to put some flavor in the skin and you snip the skin and you shove your fingers in between and you separate the skin from the muscle and that, it's a slight tear almost. You have to create, that's what it felt like was happening. I know your face. That's what felt like it was happening. It didn't hurt because they'd numbed everything, but I could almost feel the resistance and it was wigging me out. And I was already wringing my hands and I was sweating. And the guy kept saying if you are getting nervous, if you're getting dizzy, you need to let me know. And I was like, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, the room started spinning and I was like, I'm dizzy. And he had to stop and recline my chair. And within 60 seconds, the blood, I guess, needed to get to my heart, but I literally almost passed out. And he's like rubbing my shoulder and he's telling me like, it's okay. Like this is something called vascular, blah, blah, blah. And he's like talking me through it. It's your body's reaction to the stress and the nerves. And I was like, so that's not like the stuff you're putting in my face. That's like me. And he was like, yes, that's just your feelings. And I was like, I am a baby. Cause Laura, my stomach was sweaty. Like I had put my Kindle on my stomach and I picked it up and it was covered in wet. I had to like wipe it off. Every pore of my body was sweaty.
Well, as you're telling me that, like I'm grossed out right now.
Oh, yeah. It was so, and I'm laying there trying to calm down. I've got nausea and dizziness and I'm thinking, shit, I already did one eye. Like I can't finish. I'm done. Like I only have one eye. Like what the hell? And then I started to feel better. I was like, okay, I think I can do it. So it ended up, he finished the one side, but it ended up happening again. And he's like, you just tell me right away and I'll recline you. It's, then gravity helps your blood, blah, blah, blah. So I did that again. And then he did the other side and he ended up trying to like talk to me and have a conversation. And I actually was able to get through the other side without like almost passing out. And then I asked him like if that was common. And he said like in about 10% of patients that happens, like 10% of people that come in. I was like, okay. So I'm just like, he's like 90% of people, they just sit there and it's fine. I was like, okay, well, screw them. Screw all of them. So apparently I'm just a giant baby. And they only did half of this. And then I had to go do the Botox. And the Botox is like a bunch of needles. And every needle hurts versus the other one didn't actually hurt. It was only the first one. I was just freaking out. But the Botox actually hurts. And I don't really notice much difference yet. Apparently it's supposed to freeze this from happening. But it takes like a day or two. Oh. And then the filler is like under my eye. But they only did half of the treatment. I have to go back in 2 weeks and do all of that all over again.
Oh, okay.
For the full treatment.
Sorry, my daughter's outside. She doesn't come in here. I'm going to be one of the like few naturally old people as time goes, because I feel like everybody's doing this now. I'm just gonna look like an really old lady.
You are.
Everybody else.
Yeah, you're gonna look so old. I don't know. Old. I'm normally like I don't do stuff. I'm very like low maintenance, but I don't know. I can't tell you what it was. I just was like, I want to try this. And I've had these indentations under my eyes like my whole life, so I kind of feel like with like adding aging and stuff, it's just really been bothering me lately. And I'm in South Korea. I think that was part of it. It's just like I'm here. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see. And so far, I don't think you can tell like on the thing right now, but I'll send you a photo. Like he only put in half a vial and you can tell like it is smoother here in a way that I feel like I haven't seen in years. And I'm already feeling like so much better about it.
That's good.
So yeah. So I'll keep you updated. If I stop being able to emote.
These freaking things on my forehead, like my eyes are fine, and I don't really have like just right here, my forehead. They get bigger, the 11s right bigger.
Yep.
But whatever. I'm just gonna be.
You
old.
wouldn't do Botox? Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it.
What about when your hair turns gray? Are you gonna dye it?
I don't know.
It'll probably take you longer. Don't blondes take longer to go gray?
I think I'd turn more like a white. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would turn more. Yeah.
Less noticeable too. Have you had any grays yet?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
My daughter's the one that finds them. So if you don't have a very highly aware child that's picking at your head all the time, then you might not know.
It's hard to tell with my lighter hair anyway.
That's true too.
Like they blend in, like your hair's darker, so you're going to see them, where it's harder to see with mine. I do like the sun to blonde my hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally. I used to highlight it.
Yeah. I say that I'm not going to, that I'm just going to let it go. But like, if it was going now, maybe I would do something about it. I don't know. And then I saw this reel. This reel got to me. I can't stop thinking about it. It was this woman with gray hair and she had it pulled like split in the middle and like in a low bun and the kind of, it's almost like an old lady style gray hair. She had her glasses on and she had a little, like you could tell her skin, she was a little older. So she was either a really old woman whose skin looked great or like a very young woman who went gray really early. Like, it was like, I don't know how old you actually are, but she was acting old. She had, the way her hair and she had a robe on and a cup of tea and it was something, she was like lip syncing to a song and then it was like, boom. And all of a sudden she was dressed like in like very cute outfit with like wedge heels and her hair was down and brushed and she had like some very light makeup on and she was like strutting down the sidewalk. It's like, dang, she's like hot. And then, so she's like 62. But the point of it was like, you are like what you present. Like you don't have to be like whatever age. Cause I watched that video over and over. I was like, oh my gosh, she really looks like, and then she looks amazing. Yeah. And her hair was like all gray, but she still looked, I'm gonna have to send you this reel. She looked so good. And I was like, oh, maybe I will go gray. I don't know, but I've had like maybe 5 total gray hairs so far. My daughter's plucked them all. So I don't know when it will actually happen. We'll see.
I think it would depend on like how old I was once it started turning gray.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, I won't, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So I don't know. It's probably not going to be a big deal.
I don't know.
Yep. I'm just going to age naturally and gracefully.
Yeah. Go for it. Not me. I'm gonna be over here with shit in my face.
You know what?
What?
This, I believe, is our 52nd episode, I think.
I thought you were going to say 50th, and I was like, no, I'm currently editing the 50th, and I'm going to post it. 52.
52nd. So this is a year of podcasting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And we haven't missed any time.
No.
Literally.
I think for the celebration of this.
Oh, my gosh.
We should talk about
at all.
No. We should talk about we should talk about how we first met in our story.
Oh gosh, how deep are we going with this? Okay.
I don't know.
You start.
Okay. So I didn't plan to talk about this either, so this is not rehearsed.
This just came in your head right now?
Yeah.
That's really funny. So
I was thinking of it like when the episode started, I was going to say that, but then you started talking first, but yeah. So yeah, I originally, Jamie trained me for a little while. So I was a trainer, but I was just started. So I wanted somebody to train me because I figured I could learn more from somebody else than taking another cert, because they don't really teach you much in those, like with like, what you can do. Like, I don't know. It's just all science, and it doesn't really teach you application. So I wanted to learn about like form and all of that stuff because I was pretty much self-taught and, YouTube videos and things. So I hired Jamie, but I didn't tell her that. And, I was so nervous when I was talking to you because that's me. So I was too nervous to like say that, I think. And Jamie thought I was, I think she thought I was kind of dumb, or like that I didn't have a lot going on in my brain when I first hired you.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. No. I didn't think you were dumb. Dumb's not the right word. I just was confused. Like I remember I was just confused because when I talked to you, when I did like an onboarding call or anytime we video chatted, you were blank face and you would just say okay to everything. And I'd be like, face, right? And I'm like, yeah, now I know. Completely blank, no expression. Like the video could have been frozen and I wasn't really sure. Maybe you would like sit up and I'd be like, oh, okay, she's moved. So, and then you would just say okay for everything. Like I'd be like, oh, well, how do you feel about blah, blah, blah? And you'd be like, good. And I'm like, yeah, you're very agreeable.
I'm just very agreeable. I just want to agree.
Well, I'd be like, well, is there anything that you're struggling with? And you'd be like, no. And I'd be like, well, okay. Is there anything that like, I don't know. Like, is there anything you want to like really work on? Oh, no. Okay.
I talked a little bit about it. I think I did. Yeah. I answered that question. I remember.
But like after, like when it was like check-ins and stuff or like the monthly calls, I'd be like, is there anything?
I did answer because I remember I was like, I think I said I wanted to get a bigger butt.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that. But it's so funny because later on we talked about this, and I'm very nervous on phone calls, but I thought I did very well.
Yeah. That's the funny part. I was like, so good.
I was like, good job, Laura. You talked to another human being and you look normal.
Oh my God. And here I am going, wow, that was the most. And I've had like introverted clients before, and usually I can pull them out and you were just like, wow. I was like, she was extremely quiet.
Yeah.
But then the other reason you confused me So in my mind, when I first met you, I was like, okay, she's probably just like super like insecure about, she's probably never done any of this stuff before. And she's just so insecure and nervous about what this is all going to mean. So I'm going to start her off slow, even though she says she works out. It's like, okay, like, oh, she's probably one of those, like, I eat healthy and I work out and I don't know why, whatever. So then I think like I told you nutrition and then I gave you a training program and you just did everything, every workout, nailed every nutrition protocol. And then when you sent your form video, it was like perfect. And I remember seeing those first things and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why? What? Literally, why? Because what I've had before too is I've had very extroverted people that already know what they're doing hire me because they are so extroverted. They're willing to pay for like a workout partner that can just like tell them what to do because they love the relationship. So, but you weren't that either. And I was just like confused. And I was like, what's going on? And there was a couple things that like, I was like, okay, here, do this for your bench or do this for, your leg is caving, I think on your sumo or something like that. There was like a couple random things, but you would just fix it the next week. And then that was the end. And I was like, good job. All done coaching. It was very funny. But then I got that email from you basically saying it was like, I think you were already working. We were working there for like 2 months at that point. And then I got an email from you basically saying, hey, just heads up, I'm going to start posting about coaching because that's actually what I'm trying to do. And this is why I hired you.
Yeah.
And were you nervous sending that email? Did you think I was going to be mad?
I didn't know. Yeah. Because I didn't tell you originally. So, but I also, so I didn't want to be deceitful. Right? Yeah. But I also wasn't going to like, I don't know. Some people are weird about things. So I didn't know how you would feel about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you expected my response.
No, because then she hired me.
Yeah. Because at the time I was in a position in my business where I was going to hire somebody for the first time and like an assistant coach. And I had already hired somebody else and it did not go well at all. And I was feeling very frustrated by that experience and not really knowing where to turn because I felt like I'd put a lot of energy into that and it didn't go well. And I just didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I get this email from Laura saying that she's a coach. And I was like, hey, so you want to maybe like work for me instead of do your own business? Because it was also like you had just started. So it was also like, this could be, I already have clients I can give you. This can be a way that you can train people and like, you don't have to stay with me ever. You can go do your own business, but like do this for now. And like, I've never hired somebody before. So it'll also be new for me. And you want to try it. And you were just like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think at the time when I sent you the email, the other girl you had already hired. But you were like, you may be looking for somebody else eventually. And that's what you said to me. And then other girl, like, it didn't work out.
Then it went down.
And then you were like, I don't know. It was very shortly after that. You were like, actually, you want to like interview. And then when you interviewed me, like you said, like, you still same thing. Like, I don't know why you hired me. It's very like, like, because in the interview, I remember the first interview, I didn't talk much. You talked the whole time. I thought you were going to ask me questions. You didn't ask me any questions. I was like, that was the easiest interview ever. And then the next interview.
I didn't ask you any questions?
No, you didn't. You just told me about the job and what it entailed and like all of that.
I was nervous too.
Yeah, I could tell you were nervous, actually.
I was like, who am I sitting here on this side of the computer? What am I doing?
And then you did a second interview, which you didn't seem as nervous in that interview. And then you asked me questions like why I wanted to be a trainer.
I think at that point I pulled my shit together. I was like, all right, what should I be asking?
Yeah.
Because I showed you videos of form, right?
Yeah. And then you had me critique form and things. And you got really excited because I knew how to answer the questions.
Okay. So this is why I hired you. Because I had a pool of people. Like I was in a mentorship that had access to all of these people that would love to be an assistant coach for somebody else. So I had other interviews with other people. So it's not like I had nowhere to turn, but I figured I already know this person. Yeah, she seems really quiet, but I don't know, because the thing was because I did this before when I hired the other girl too, every time. So my main thing was like, I showed form videos of clients because that's like my main thing, right? So I was like, how can you correct form? And these other people, I would show them the video and either they wouldn't pick up on the right thing, which I felt like were very simple things, like how somebody was hinging, or they would pick up on it, but they would use so many buzzwords. Like all these
smart.
Trying to sound like super smart. I was like, you don't need to sound smart to me. I'm just Jamie. Like, come on. Like, it's like, stop it. It was like very uncomfortable. It was also just like, you're not talking to like my people. We're just like regular people. And I need you to be able to explain it in a way that they can identify with and like relate to, and not use all these like sciencey words and stuff like that. And how would you correct it and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, when I showed you, you just like knew right away. You didn't miss any of the things, even like tiny things that I was like, I thought were like hidden. I was like, oh, here's the main things, but I wonder if they'll pick up on this tiny little thing, or I wonder if they'll mention this tiny little thing. And like nobody did, and you did. So I was just like, that's awesome. Cause I felt like the other stuff could be like learned or picked up on, or I also thought like there's personality differences, and like, I'm this way, but like, I don't need to have somebody else that's that whatever, enthusiastic and energetic, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then when you got to know me, you realized that, oh no, she has a personality.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I thought you were very non-opinionated. I thought you were just you don't really have strong opinions. Whatever you say goes. I don't really think much about it. Whatever. But the reality is you are probably the most opinionated person I've ever met.
Yeah.
But your mask is one of somebody who's not. And it's so funny. It is so funny to me.
I don't know how to explain it, because I am opinionated, but I'm also like, I don't know. I'm very people pleasery. So I just want the other person to like, I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to be like, so if you're like, is this okay? I'm like, sure. Yeah, everything's fine. I just want to make everything as easy for you as possible and not be like, a hassle in any way.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, no, everything's great. Yeah. Great. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sounds good. Keep chugging ahead. Sounds good. Yep. Okay. Yep. Whatever you say. Even though in your head, you're like, that's stupid.
No, for the most part, whatever. Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know. That's our story.
Yeah.
Part of it anyway.
Yeah. And then I think we worked together for like, I don't know how long. Was it 2 years?
About 2 years. Yeah.
And then I realized I kind of didn't want to have people work for me anymore. And you also realized you wanted to actually try and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And then here we are on a podcast. Yeah. Actually, we started the podcast before we started that separation, didn't we?
It was around the same time. We had already
started the podcast.
We were separating, but I was going to help you with the squad, and then we just fully separated.
But we did all of that while keeping a very good friendship and a podcast where we have a professional and like personal relationship. And it's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're awesome people. That's why.
Exactly.
Because we're elite.
Mm-hmm. That was a good idea. I can't believe it's been a year. Should we do anything else to celebrate?
I don't know. Well, next year will be, or next year, next podcast will be our like 1 year anniversary, because this is like a full year,
Oh, let's do something for that one.
We should plan something.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's talk on the side. Yeah. Cool. Do you have any topics or you want to do Q&A?
I have some overrated, underrateds. Or we can.
Oh, okay. I love overrated, underrated.
Overrated, underrated. Okay, yeah,
underrated.
I don't know what it is. I wrote overrated, underrated.
Underrated. Yeah, overrated, underrated. Why'd you question it? Did I say it differently?
I don't know if you said underrated, overrated.
No.
And now I'm all confused.
I would never say that.
Okay.
Blasphemy.
No, you were right. You were.
Just kidding. Maybe
I don't know. It's me. It's not you. So okay, first one. Tomatoes.
Underrated.
I agree. Tomatoes are the best.
I also, because I was like, how the fuck are tomatoes rated? But I hear more people talk about how they hate tomatoes than I hear people talk about how they love tomatoes. And therefore, I believe they're underrated.
I don't know how I would cook if I didn't have tomatoes. I put them in
with tomatoes?
Oh, I love tomatoes. I put them in so many things.
I don't like cooked tomatoes.
Oh, they're so like, I can't think of like, I mean, there's lots of dishes I don't put tomatoes in, but there's so many dishes that I put tomatoes in. I love,
Interesting.
like, I mean, it's like Italians. Tomatoes are not underrated for Italians. They know
Right.
how important they are in cuisine.
They do change when I add tomato to something that I'm cooking, it changes the flavor. And so a lot
Yeah,
of times it's like, oh, what is it? Oh, it needs some diced tomatoes in there.
tomatoes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like they are very nutritious. So they have lycopene. Like they're the
Tell us tell us about the lycopene and the
the lycopene
nutrients.
in the tomatoes. I think they're like the highest source of it, especially when they're cooked, or at least one of the highest. I don't know. Watermelon's pretty high too, but when they're cooked, I don't know if it increases the bioavailability, but you get more of it when it's cooked. So like in tomato sauce and that kind of stuff. And lycopene is one of those, phytonutrients that prevents cancer and lowers heart disease and
You
protects
talked
your
about it on the
skin.
phytonutrients
I
podcast
did.
that we did.
It protects your skin from the sun, and yeah, so it's very like it's one of those powerful nutrients. But I like the other day so I started trying to eat more fish, and I don't know how to cook it because I don't normally eat fish, and I don't like fish. I'm not a big fish person, but I was making cod, and I made this like Mediterranean cod dish.
Ooh.
And it had tomatoes, obviously, and it was so good. And I had made
It
cod
sounds
before,
really
and it was
good.
only okay. But with the tomatoes and everything, I'm like, this is amazing. I could eat
Oh
this all
wow.
the time. It also had little raisins in it, a little bit of raisins in it, which
Oh.
made it unique. It was good.
Huh.
It doesn't sound good, but it was good.
It sounds interesting. You're gonna have to send me
Yeah.
that recipe. Do you like raw tomatoes?
I do. Like, yeah, I'll snack on them or put them in a salad and stuff, so I can eat them raw too. But I'm
I
not
love
a
raw
big of like
tomatoes.
beef, like like the big tomatoes that you put on like
Yeah.
sandwiches or
Uh-huh.
something. Like I'm not a huge fan of them, but I'll eat them
My one when I was a kid, I would like go into the fridge to like you grab an apple or you grab a piece of fruit. I would grab a tomato.
and just bite
And
into it.
my yeah, but the thing is it's in sections, right? And it's got those little jelly seeds in the middle, which is like a
Yeah.
texture journey. It's very much an experience.
Just your journey.
Yeah, so I came up with all kinds of ways to eat it because there's the sections, and depending on how many sections a tomato has, and you kind of have to guess when you take your first bite, like, oh, am I biting in this section or not? And then if I made it and it was like perfect, I would carve out the skin on the outside or the chunk on the outside so that all that was left was the sections with the big jelly mass sitting. And I would like had these ways, and I would suck, like you put your mouth like a vacuum and you slip all those jellies. Yeah, I was just like I had ways. It was an experience eating a tomato. It was one of my favorite things to eat as a kid.
Yeah.
And I still really enjoy tomatoes. My kids enjoy tomatoes. So yeah, tomatoes are amazing.
Love them. My family doesn't like them, but I do. But they'll eat them cooked. They just won't eat like raw tomatoes.
Yeah, see, my family all will eat raw tomatoes. Well, I don't say family. Me and my husband will eat them both ways. My kids will not. We don't really enjoy them when they're cooked in stuff.
Like tomato sauce or like
Tomato sauce, yeah, I don't know why it's different when there's chunks of tomatoes in things when the thing is not tomato sauce.
what about like salsa?
Sometimes, yeah, no, yeah, we eat salsa. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I was
Yeah, I
chunks
don't know.
sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't think when you said like you put tomatoes in everything when you cook, I'm just like I just don't do that.
I eat a lot of like pasta kind of dishes, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
With tomatoes in them. I mean, I don't eat a lot of pasta, but yeah. Anyway,
Next thing,
Italian. Sunshine.
Oh, I thought that was the next topic. I was like, I have to rate Italians.
Our Italians are the overrated.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to go down this road. This feels a little racist. Sunshine. You know, I think that it depends on what you're listening to or what you're reading or whatever, but I feel like it's underrated because I feel like all the stuff that came out about sunscreen and skin cancer, everybody's like running away from the sun. And you're nodding, so I'm assuming you agree with me. People need sun. Like, I'll go outside for like 20 minutes. My husband's like, oh, put on sunscreen. I'm like, you need 20 minutes a day minimum outside without sunscreen is the minimum to get for your body to make enough vitamin D.
Yeah.
Like I do not, or he won't say to me, we'll say to kids, oh, they're going to go out and play in the sun, put sunscreen. I'm like, no, in like an hour, maybe I will, but they need to be out in the like unfiltered sunlight for a little while.
Yes. I rarely put on sunscreen unless I am going to be at like the beach where I'm going to be in sun all day.
Do you put
Otherwise,
it on your face?
don't. That's what gets burnt the most. So yeah.
Yeah. I put like sunscreen on my face pretty much almost daily, like in lotion form.
Oh, no, I don't.
But just because that's what you're supposed to do for aging. But the rest of my body, like I hardly ever wear sunscreen. Yeah. That's not necessarily good, but.
No, I don't. I don't really think it's as bad as they say. Like, so I think sunshine is underrated because it has so many benefits. It helps you create serotonin, so it helps with your mood and depression and anxiety and all of that stuff. It helps with your circadian rhythm. So if you get it, especially if you get sunlight first thing in the morning, you get sun in your eyes, it helps set that up. It helps you create cortisol that you're supposed to have first thing in the morning and creates that cycle so that you sleep better. It has
now, my question about that is, which ones of those things are just because of the natural rhythm of seeing light and how that responds? So that's why they make like lamps that are like sunlight lamps, because they can have a similar effect. And how much of it is the actual UV rays? Because for things like making vitamin D, you can't get it through a window. You can't sit next to a window and the UV rays don't go through. You have to actually be out in it. You have to be absorbing the rays.
Yeah.
So like, I wonder which ones of those are the UV and which ones of those are just the response to the light.
Well, I've heard that getting it from the natural sun is better than like artificial light. I don't know why.
Well, what about through a window? Like opening up your curtains and looking outside first thing. Is it the same level of cortisol and serotonin than if you stepped out on your front porch and stood in it? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah, I would like to know.
I don't think it's just the light. It's because if you live in New York, for example, there's seasonal affective disorder because people get depressed because there's no sunlight, because it's not sunny here like all the time. Like
but that could be like through a window. Like if it's a very sunny day through the window, I'm in a better mood, even if I don't go out in it. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Questions I have.
I don't think so. I think you actually have to be like out in the sun. But either way, sun.
Okay. How about Japanese? I'm just kidding. Because you said Italian. Underrated or overrated? What do you think?
I was also going to say that, like, about people, like, it's the part of the reason it's underrated is because it's talked about how bad it, like, cancer, all these things. And I do think that we like protect ourselves too much from things. And you could think of like the sunlight similar to any other kind of stress or damage that you do to your body. It's like it helps you become stronger. So if you never go out in the sun, you will lose that protection of like if you end up ever having to go out in the sun with no sunscreen, you are more likely to get burnt. It's like a protection thing. Like if you go out in the springtime, like I try, except this year there was no sun. It's the worst year ever. But normally this time of year, I try to get as much sun as I can, and it's not as strong. And then I will build up that like base tan, and then by the time summer comes, I don't get burnt. It like builds up a protection, like kind of like working out. And the longer the more tan you are, the longer you have to go out to continue to get tan. It's very similar to like how you build muscle and all of that stuff. So love the sun. Okay, sleep.
Oh man, maybe at this point properly rated.
I think it's properly rated.
I think it's being talked about enough. Holy shit, is sleep important? Oh my gosh. And I don't know if I'm just getting old. And I know there's research and all this stuff that supports it, but I am so picky about my sleep.
Me too.
And I think more people need to be. Yeah.
I still think it's underrated. It depends on, I guess, who you're listening to. I still think it's underrated because I don't think people know how important it is for, like, people know that, okay, if I don't get sleep, I feel crappy and I'm not as smart and whatever, like I can't think and I have no energy and that kind of stuff. But I don't think people understand, like, if you don't sleep, like if you are in a calorie deficit, you are going to like most likely lose a bunch of muscle if you're not sleeping.
Yeah. The body composition effects.
There's a ton of, because you're not creating, human growth hormone and all that stuff, because you do that while you're sleeping.
Yep.
You end up losing muscle. Like there's so many studies that show that when people lose sleep, like in a calorie deficit, that the crazy amount of difference between like retaining muscle in the two groups of one that sleeps and one that doesn't.
If somebody's trying to lose like 30 pounds, I would rather you hold on to that 30 pounds if your sleep is absolute crap. I would rather you not eat in a calorie deficit. Don't try to lose 30 pounds. Maybe we can recomp. Maybe you can lose fat mass while building, whatever. Maybe, but you need to get your sleep. And I'd rather that than try and have you lose half of that be muscle, because you're going to be worse off even if you're lower on the scale. Yeah, you lost weight, but you like half of that literally came from your muscle because your sleep is absolute garbage. Yeah,
it's very important.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on who you listen to. All right, one more. Walking.
Is walking properly rated at this point? Maybe not. Again, it depends on who you talk to.
It depends on who you talk to.
I was just giving advice to a friend who is trying to get more fit, and she doesn't really move at all. She was saying that her total steps daily are like 2,000 to 3,000 steps, but she was asking me what kind of workouts to do and like how often she should go to like, the cardio class that she wants to start going to. And I literally gave her a 3-step thing. And step number 1 was get your steps up. I don't want you to visit these other 2 at all unless you're moving. And I set a goal, like, 2 weeks, 5,000, the next 2 weeks, 7,000, the next 2 weeks, 10. It's like, you need to be moving more. Yeah. So it depends on who you talk to. Like in that situation, like underrated, but I also think that there's a large, group of people that are talking about it more and how beneficial walking is.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. So it's getting closer to properly rated. I still don't think people, because I think everything in our industry, not everything, but a lot of things are fat loss, fat loss, fat loss. And so people are like, walking doesn't really, you have to walk a lot to burn a lot of calories. So that's what everyone's thinking of and not thinking of like the health benefits of it and stuff like that. So for that reason, I think it can be a little underrated. But people do talk about NEAT a lot more now, and they consider walking, usually people put that into NEAT and things. Yeah. So I think certain people are talking about it more than they used to. And it could be, sometimes it could be overrated in certain groups if people are like, I'm trying to get 20,000 steps a day. And that's, you don't need to do that. But I think for longevity and just it's definitely it doesn't stress you out the same way cardio will or other exercises. You can do it a lot more. It actually relaxes you and de-stresses you, especially if you go out in nature and you do it and the sunshine. You could get all three. Eat your tomatoes, protect your skin from the sun, and then go home and sleep. Outside, go for a walk. The sun's going to help you sleep later. These all intertwine. Go out for your walk, and it helps you de-stress and helps me think. Like I get my best thinking when I'm walking. You ever feel like you can't, like, I don't know, get your thoughts organized and then you go for a walk and it helps?
For me, I have to talk. I have to start talking about it.
I talk in my head.
I have to like start a voice note or a Marco Polo, and I have to just start talking about it, and then all these things come and I'm organized. Yeah. I'm a talk to thinker for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I think is massively overrated?
Okay.
Overrated, I guess, is like standing desks and this idea of people standing all of the time, because and maybe it's starting to make its rounds, but it's not about standing versus sitting. Standing can actually be just as bad as, well, not just as bad as sitting, but it still can be bad. It's the point is to not be in one spot all of the time. Like our bodies were made to move. And there's actually studies that show it's not about sitting. You can even sit slouched. It's not about sitting slouched. It's about, even if you sit with perfect posture, if you're sitting with perfect posture all day, it's just as bad. You need to be moving throughout different postures and different positions and different, like throughout the day. Anything held for too long is negative. And people make it sound like, oh, if you sit with bad posture, it's like the next smoking. Well, if you do anything where you're just in one position, even if it's perfect posture standing, that's going to be almost just as negative, because it's a little bit different in terms of the way that it affects your musculature and stuff like that, because the way we sit is so unnatural.
Yeah, I've heard inactivity is the next smoking. Mm-hmm. So
yes, is. So like it, my husband was talking about, he came home the other day saying like, oh, this so-and-so person, he works for the government. So everything, like there's red tape for everything. And he's like, so-and-so submitted a request because he wants to bring in a walking pad to the office. And I was like, what's your answer going to be? And he was like, no. And I was like, why not? And I mean, his reasons were a lot more about like the red tape it would take to bring a machine in and like all the, but I was like, why wouldn't, I was like, you guys have standing desks, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, there's almost no point in standing desks if you don't have a walking pad under it. I mean, yeah, there is, you can go back and forth between positions, but you could also just get up from your chair and go walk around the office real quick and come back. Like, I don't know. It's like silly to me that everybody's like that now standing for 8 hours a day. I'm like, it's still,
I've seen people at those standing desks go like this and like, have to stretch out because it's just as annoying. You're still doing this in this hunched position.
Yeah. But I was like, maybe that guy can't bring in his walking pad, but why, is there a way that you could get like 4 or 5 and you keep them in a storage place? And if somebody wants to go check one out for like an hour or two, they go check it out, roll it over to their desk. And I was like, what he's asking is, I think, if you could find a way to make it work, that would benefit all of your employees to be able to have that kind of situation. Long story short, it can't work. At least not right now. Nobody can have those. Yeah.
Government.
They all got a standing desk, but nobody can have a walking pad, at least not yet.
Stupid. I noticed that all of them that I did were underrated for me anyway, and normally they're overrated. Normally I'm like negative, overrated. These were all
you picked all of your things were things that I never have picked for overrated, underrated before, because I figured they would be lame to talk about because I feel like we know already. Like, yeah, they're all, it's like walking, sunshine, like they're like the foundations.
Yeah, but
we talked about them and we had stuff to say. So I overall think it was good. I thought they were good topics. But they were foundational.
I do think sunshine is controversial though.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But everybody who thinks that it's like all bad is just wrong. So there's that.
There's so many people that are like, no, the sun, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Everybody in Korea.
Sunscreen.
Go to a beach in Korea. Oh my God. Yeah. These women, ankle to wrist covered, and then a giant hat on top.
You need the sun. It's so important. Yeah. Believe me, being in New York with no sun sometimes, it's depressing.
Or I have a client in Denmark, and she was struggling because it just takes forever for the sun. I mean, even then you get short hours because of location and everything, but
that's worse.
It's finally starting to get sunny. And now she's like, oh my God, I all of a sudden feel so much better. And it's like, dude, I think you might need to move. It affects you that badly. That's awful.
I haven't in a long time, but I used to go tanning in the winter time for that reason. Like I wouldn't really get like super tan or anything, but just to help.
Yeah.
And so those lights work like because they have those rays
because it's UV, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got.
Awesome. Good stuff. I mean, I have some questions. We can do that next time.
Okay. Good, because we're always trying to find stuff. So keep saving us.
Awesome. I will.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for listening. Happy 52 episodes to us. And next week's going to be a banger because we're going to do an anniversary special. It's going to be so planned and epic.
Unlike this one.
So make sure you're there. It's not going to be planned or epic. See you next week.
Bye.